what does the future of SEO look like, especially with ChatGPT and Bard and all these AI chat conversations, MLMs that are coming out? Is it still worthwhile to invest into SEO with that coming in?
The short answer is,
wait a minute, I'm kind of using ChatGPT even more than Google search. So let's just get the SEO out of the way. The question that's been kind of the elephant in the room is, what does the future of SEO look like, especially with ChatGPT and Bard and all these AI chat conversations, MLMs that are coming out? How does SEO play into that? Is it still worthwhile to invest into SEO with that coming in?
like a lot of these answers, it depends on a lot of things, but I'll tell you where my head is on SEO. As long as people are using search engines, SEO is going to be a thing. Now, how people use search engines and what businesses and law firms can do to appear in search results in order to actually convert organic traffic into fees, that's changing a lot. But say this, you talk about long term, like people tend to say this, SEO it's an investment, right? I mean, if you want to use like the real estate analogy, SEO is building your house, right? It's a lot of the SEO folks too talk about like treating SEO like a product, but your website is your product. And in terms of search. And so things like Google business profiles, reviews, video, all of the stuff you can do organically that search engines, suck up and put in results. I still think there's a tremendous amount of value there. I think the short-term thinking is I'm going to connect my OpenAI API to my WordPress API and just churn out a lot of pages. And frankly, like it will work until it stops working. And when that will happen is hard to say. But, the SEOs were fast to adopt, just churning out, some of these guys did these test cases, 10,000 pages a day and rank, traffic until Google figured it out and then site totally de-indexed. And so there's a risk there if you're going to play that game. But, look, I think Google's not going anywhere. The organic results aren't going anywhere. I think it's just more of like strategically how you approach the problem may change.
So I found that a lot of times what we have on our phone really dictates how we're spending our time, and that also dictates how our potential clients are spending our time. So I kind of found myself in a situation about 5 or 6 months ago. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm kind of using ChatGPT even more than Google search. So I went ahead and made a big commitment, which was on my bottom right, which is a very good real estate, which is close to like clicking it. I used to have a Google there, and now that's replaced with ChatGPT. But what that means is now I'm going into ChatGPT to search for regular questions that I have on a day-to-day basis than versus going to Google. So how does that play out for lawyers? We're building all of this content on Google, but now if all of a sudden there's this OpenAI company comes and takes over people's searches, how does that play into the picture and what does that mean for us?
That's the war that's going on right now. Will ChatGPT persuade enough consumers to turn to ChatGPT for results? And of course, Google is fighting back and they're coming up with their own conversational search. And, we mentioned this before. So one way to think about it is this. If there are enough ChatGPT users to justify your time there, it might make sense for you to start thinking about it. But, remember how ChatGPT is pulling results. They're crawling the web too. And so a lot of that's the same behind the scenes stuff that's being used as the corpus for serving results, even though they're doing it in a totally different way. It's still going to be the information from the web. And so where does the information from the web come from? It comes from publishing on different sites and publishing on your website and third-party sites. And so one of the things that we've been telling folks to check is ask GPT, ask Bard, ask Gemini, ask all of these LLMs where the sources they're pulling the information from. And what we're seeing is a lot of it's like the resurgence of like the directories. And so again, if you want to be the lawyer I was just doing this the other day, car accident lawyers near me, but do it in ChatGPT, or best car accident lawyers, best whatever lawyers, same thing you think of in search, type that into ChatGPT and see what ChatGPT gives you as the source data. And a lot of it's the traditional, directories and other data sources. But I think being there is valid. But it's still a Google world, and Google's got a lot of resources. They've been doing AI a lot longer than OpenAI has. We can talk too philosophically about like why does it seem like Google results or their SE and their AI isn't as good. I don't think it's because they can't do it. I think it's a lot more because they've been a little bit slower to release, and they have a big problem to solve. ChatGPT, OpenAI, They're a subscription model if you want the, advanced version. So they're getting $20 a month from people that are using it. Google's an ad platform. And so them trying to figure out how are they going to incorporate ads without, disrupting the golden goose and still show these SGE results, I think that's the challenge for them. So I don't know. I've been long on look, know about what's going on with ChatGPT, follow it, see where those sources are. People are going to use it. They are using it. It's long run. It's right now, Google's got a big moat around it. So I wouldn't abandon Google quite yet.
So as you suggested, I just went into ChatGPT and I searched for best car accident lawyer near me. And he said, if you're looking for a top rated car accident lawyer in San Antonio, Texas, which it's not where I'm based in. And he gave me 5 names and their phone numbers. And I'm like, why do you think I was based in San Antonio? And it's like, based on the search results that appeared, most of them were appearing in San Antonio. So basically what this shows is ChatGPT is not really ready for potential clients to come in and ask for local services or lawyers to hire from. But as you said, Google does though. And Google, being the behemoth as it is, do you know what percentage of their business comes from their ad business?
Like 90 some percent. You take out the moonshot stuff. I mean, they're the one trick pony. I think they wish that they weren't, but that's why if you follow any of this antitrust hearing stuff, which by the way has been fascinating to watch because, they've been very church and state in the past about like ads and organic results and those teams not talking to each other, and comes to find out that there's something else going on there. I'll let folks do the research on their own. I don't want to cast aspersions, but I think the other thing too, I was talking about this earlier today, it came up on a Clio webinar, and I think it's really interesting. There is a huge lack of trust by consumers of AI in general, like as a thing. And, so I think some of it's because of the hallucination stuff and these stories. And, in the legal space, you see these stories of lawyers who are like using ChatGPT for case research and it's coming up with fake cases and stuff. But there's a huge skepticism and cynicism. Now, ironically, Google's been using AI to serve results for some time. But from to your point about is there going to be a major consumer shift to ChatGPT? I don't know. Most of the survey data, trends report data, they ask the clients that they surveyed, do you trust AI? And it was 50% said I don't trust AI. And then if you look at GeekWire there was a big study that came out. I can't remember, I'm blanking on the company that did the study, but if you search for a GeekWire, it wasn't Clio. This was outside of legal. This was just like a general consumer study. But anyway, the TLDR here is that trust in AI is very low. And I think for good reason. You just showed an example. It's not even close. It's not even showing you local results. There are a ton of applications for AI. So I'm not put your head in the sand and AI is not this transformative technology. It is, but it's not in the way I think a lot of people think, because right off the bat, everybody's questions we get every day are, how do I scale content production with AI? And I'm like, you copy and paste it into WordPress, your social posts or whatever. It's going to be riddled with errors. A lot of times we're going to be able to tell. And once you do that, this is my thing, goes back to the same thing with the consumer trust. Once you break the trust, once it looks like you're, inauthentic, whether it's on social media or your site or whatever it is, people aren't going to engage with you. They're not going to want to hire you. It just looks fake. It's like the spam blogs of yesteryear, and no one wants to hire a lawyer that's inauthentic like that, at least in my opinion. I shouldn't say that. There are some people that still probably hire a lawyer because they're not even doing the vetting. But for the most part, you want to talk about long-term, you want to talk about brand building, you want to talk about authentic, building your moat around your reputation, authenticity is king.